Welcome, Degens, far and wide, to another edition of the Degen Docs. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. We are 3 days away from NFL kickoff, NFL Week 1. So, of course, we have to start with our NFL Week 1 fantasy football and betting preview. Today, we are going to be going over some injury rundowns. We're going to go over some waiver wire targets, some of our best and worst fantasy matchups. And of course, we're going to be looking ahead to that Thursday night football game and looking at some early lines, some things right now. Hey, some tickets I want to get in my pocket right now because I think the line is going to change away from my direction and it's just too nice. I want it right now. So cheers, folks. Thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and kick this off and talk about week 1. The NFL Week 1 preview edition of the Degen Docs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPNDOC to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM. And make sure you enter the free roll fantasy football contest. Free roll football contest. There you go. Up to $3,500 in prizes up for grabs. Go to sportsgamingpodcast.com/free-roll to enter today. Don't worry, folks. I'll tell you much more about that. But before I do that, I, of course, have to introduce my awesome co-host here, my brother in degeneracy, Professor Locks himself, Mr. Derek Brethett. How are we doing tonight, brother?
We are doing great. Full slate of college games this past weekend. Did fairly well over the weekend. Cashed in on quite a few different things. So that was nice. What are we drinking there?
In honor of college kicking back up, I realized I'm severely low on my reserves. So, went out to the river today. Had a good time, so I realized I was a little dehydrated. So I got some Gatorade, and then there's football on tonight, so I put some vodka in it because you can't drink on a sober stomach, right?
There you go. It's kind of that throwback tailgate beverage. You start pulling out bottles of whatever and just dumping liquor into it.
So we have vodka left over from a wedding, over a year ago at this point, because, vodka it's versatile, but it's just not neither mine or the wife's go-to drink. We were actually just talking about what did we drink in college? And it was really just a lot of vodkas because anything we could get our hands on. So definitely a versatile drink, but as a close to 30 individual, vodkas is not really my friend anymore. What about you? What do you got for us?
Gets us in trouble more often than not. Yeah. Luckily when I was in college, it was I skipped over the whole vodka thing. I went straight to low end whiskeys, Jack and Cokes, those kind of things. I stuck with some low end beers as well. But tonight we're going with the Bowen Brothers small batch. So
wow. Old
straight out of Virginia.
Very proud.
A little closer to home for you, but pretty good stuff.
Pretty good stuff. Well, while we're on the topic of college, I've got some things I got to get off my chest.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just glad that you are here. I didn't have to get a new host.
Look, folks, we're bringing back what grinds my gears, because what grinds my fucking gears right now is the University of Florida football program and that disgrace of a coach, Billy fucking Napier. All right. I promise I'm going to make this quick because I know we're talking about the NFL today, but as a Florida alum, as a Florida fan, look, man, what the fuck is going on with the Florida Gators right now? We got absolutely embarrassed by an in-state rival. We had the Miami Hurricanes not only gator chomping in our fucking end zone, they were trying to recruit our recruits that were at the game. They're like, don't come to this trash-ass school. And it's hard to fucking blame them because that was a piss-poor performance. And the worst part about it, other than getting your ass kicked, is the same things that were problems last year. Discipline, burning timeouts, stupid penalties were the same things this year. It's the same football team, just a little bit less talent. So, look, man, it grinds my gears. But I will say that's where I'm thankful to be a nerd, to have went to the University of Pittsburgh, have another school to root for in grad school, and then a part of the Army. Of course, I'm going to be rooting for Army football, going to get back-to-back Commander-in-Chief cups. So
Hey,
All right.
I
Get off my chest.
I'm glad that you got that off your chest. I'm not gonna, spend a whole lot of time either, saying that, I tried to warn you. Cam Ward is a stud coming down there to the University of Miami. And I may have profited off of that. I don't know.
If
we won't go there.
That's well, I mean, at least your wallet was happy. At least you were happy because I sure as fuck wasn't. While the one saving grace is, of course, FSU in a lone slot, lost in London, or excuse me, in Ireland, in Dublin. So that was good. And then this week they're playing, I think, kicking off right now, actually. So if Florida State can somehow lose as a double-digit favorite 2 weeks in a row, it kind of lessens the burden a little bit. But hey, look, folks, college football is now in the rearview mirror for us here on this show. It's all about the National Football League, and we've got our very first injury report. See, a first official injury report of the NFL season. That is just beautiful for us to see. I mean, we're going to talk Thursday night preview here in the back half of the show, but look, folks, there's going to be 16 of these every week. Well, once we get to bye weeks, plus or minus one or two. Right. But this is what we live for, looking through these injury reports, obviously quickly going through it. We're going to get into injury news in a second. The biggest takeaway is Hollywood Brown's going to be out this week. We'll talk about when we think he's going to return. Everybody else, of relevance is a full practice. Really no Ravens starter is even on the report. And then the ones that for the Chiefs that are fully practiced. So it's just nice to see, man. We are officially back.
Completely agree. With Thursday night kicking us off over in Kansas City, we've got a kind of a hot button game really to start us off. We'll switch back over to the college games for a couple of days, but then full slate this coming week. Absolutely can't wait for this weekend.
Oh man, yeah, having the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of I know we got a little bit of a taste this week, but some baby games Thursday and Friday, but with the NFL being thrown back in, we're back. We are back.
No doubt.
Speaking of we're back, look, folks, hey, we know we're a new show. This is our first season. So we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a schedule to see what to expect, because every Monday and Thursday until the end of the season, we're going to be doing a live show. Our Monday show is going to be a little bit more tailored to fantasy football, just being earlier in the week. We'll kind of go through an injury rundown, talk about our kind of favorite, worst matchups in the fantasy realm, and some waiver wire targets, which we're going to talk about those today. Obviously, today with it, there not being games last week, it's going to be a little bit less, probably get out of here a little bit quicker. And then we'll switch over to the betting preview. We'll look at the Thursday night game, and then we'll talk about some early lines that we love and we already have tickets in our pocket. So that's what to expect. And then Thursday is a lot more of the sports betting heavy, where we're going to be, of course, talking about injuries, but then we're going to give our props of the week. We're going to give our prescriptions, our best bets for the NFL slate. And then we will, of course, talk some fades in fantasy and some guys you absolutely love, whether it's DFS or anything in that realm. So, hey, skiddy up. We are for our first Monday episode, and we are about to get into the injury rundown. Before we do that, though, let me tell you about that free roll contest that I absolutely butchered at the intro there. So the Sports Gaming Podcast is back, picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done since 2011. So those are our big bosses there, Sean and Ryan, of course.
Yep.
They love football, and they love to give away free money. I don't know what it is about them, but hey, that is
very generous.
What I aspire
very
to be
generous,
one day.
Guys.
But look, they have a free roll football contest where there's going to be $3,500 guaranteed in cash up for grabs. So you sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/freeroll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/freeroll. Essentially what it is, you get a certain amount of credits. It's like 10,000 credits that you start the season with. And then whoever finishes on top, I think it's first and second place, are guaranteed prizes. And it's absolutely free. It is 100% free. So it's the easiest contents you're going to enter all year. We talk about Circa Million, Circa Survivor, where it's $1,000 fee and blah, blah, blah. This is $0. So, I mean, think about it, folks. Why the hell would you not? So make sure you check out that free roll contest there. You might be able to come in second or third place, because we will definitely be playing that as well.
Of course.
All right, let's go ahead and move on over here to Injury rundown. Why don't you start us off with the injury rundown? I've been talking way too fucking much.
Yeah, so let's talk about one guy that's not practicing, hasn't been doing a whole lot, has been showing up, but isn't necessarily injured in Jamar Chase. He's got contract issues, dealing with some drama when it comes to that. Obviously, still on his rookie deal, trying to get paid a little bit earlier than the
2
Bengals
years
like
early, yeah.
to typically pay people. Not that they really pay wide receivers much anyways, but hasn't practiced. We're 5 days, 6 days,
six days away,
from,
man.
Yeah, 6 days away from their first game. So what are you thinking about the whole Jamar Chase situation? Is he going to start coming back? Is he going to push this into the season? What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I don't know what is going on between his ears there. Obviously, that's for him and him to know and us to find out. But from an injury perspective, I mean, we're talking about 6 days to ramp up for an NFL season. Like, we've talked about it the whole time. Like, 2 weeks is really kind of where I want you to be at the minimum. 6 days, like, this is NFL football. Like, the only way to get prepared to play football in the National Football League is to practice against players in the National Football League, right? Working out, doing stuff with your trainer, doing stuff on the side is not the same at all. So I am starting to get a little bit of concern for Jamar Chase. Now, look, he's still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not going to say anything crazy. I'm talking about for week 1 in particular. If I have Jamar Chase on my team, one, is he even going to be out there, period? Because head coach Zach Taylor originally was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be out there. And now this week they're saying they're taking it day by day.
Yep.
So is he even going to be out there, period? And if he does suit up, how much time is he going to have to ramp up? I mean, I get it that Joe Burrow and him have good chemistry and things like that.
For sure.
But yeah, man, I'm starting to get worried. And if I'm a Chase manager right now, I'm pretty frustrated.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Especially, obviously him and Joe Burrow have a longer connection than just their NFL career. But, like you were saying, it takes a while to get back into football shape, to kind of get that connection built back up. And, whether he plays this week 1 or not, really, since he's shortened this timeline so much, those first couple weeks that he's back, I'm not necessarily expecting him to be the Jamar Chase that we know and love. But yeah, I'm very concerned for the first couple of weeks coming back. I think it's going to be a slow ramp up. Could he, pop off? Obviously, he's one of the best in the league. But typically, if we're stretching this close to the beginning of the season, first couple of weeks are kind of duds.
Yeah, I'm not liking this at all. I mean, he hasn't. Obviously, I don't think he was going to play in the preseason anyway. But he's had no live reps. He's had 0 live reps since last season. I mean, you do not get better at football by not playing football. There's been time and time again. I mean, look at Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, come on now. So I don't want to get too crazy outside of the first couple of weeks, obviously, assuming he comes back. But if I'm a fantasy owner or, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm super frustrated, man. You're 2 years out from your deal. Like, I get you want to hold out. You're one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but play your damn contract a little bit.
Yeah, well, and really with the next guy that we're going to talk about, Ricky Pearsall out in San Francisco, like, again, this one is more injury related, but, not a football related injury. This is more of a wrong place, wrong time kind of a thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, for those that don't know, Ricky Pearsall, he was, I think he was going to like a concert venue or something. And he, some 17-year-old kid kind of wanted to rob him for his Rolex. And they got an altercation, and then they both wind up getting shot, actually. But Ricky Pearsall went to the hospital. He was released, thankfully. Looks like, through and through his chest, out his back. Apparently no major organs, according to his mom, actually. But, I mean, look, that's a terrible situation. Tragic, no way around it. Prayers up for Slick Rick and former Gator kid. It's tough, but he's officially on the non-football injury list. Out 4 games minimum. It's hard to, I really don't even really want us to speculate recovery timeline and stuff. One, we don't have the necessary information of what muscles and nerves were actually damaged.
Right.
And 2, I mean, it's quality of life thing, man. He got shot in the chest. Like, let's be honest. I know Brian Robinson had this happen, through the leg, but that's just scary stuff. So just kind of thoughts and prayers out for him. Hopefully he's doing well, him and his family.
Especially with, obviously he's rookie coming into the league with the Brandon Ayuk situation finally coming to an end here. You
Yep.
know, what was his role actually going to be? He's going to be at least that third string guy or third guy in there, wide receiver room.
Probably fourth behind Jennings, you know.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I mean,
And
so from a fantasy perspective,
yeah,
you know, but yeah, definitely tough situation.
Yeah, at this point, probably not even worth you know, rostering just because you so much unknown, and then you're like you said, he missed training camp with the shoulder and a hamstring injury. So what's his role? All right, another guy on the this is the non-football illness list. Same kind of deal, missed a minimum of 4 games. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a guy who, you know, with the signing of Samaje Perine, what was his role going to be anyway?
Right.
You know, so I think that obviously Samaje Perine takes a step up, but Carson Steele, maybe. You know, I will say when Kadarius Toney got cut last week, I picked up an NFL Week 1 anytime touchdown for Carson Steele at 12-1. It is now 8-1 over on DraftKings. Samaje Perine is plus 550. Now, I love in the anytime touchdown market. I'm always an RB2 guy. I'm always looking for that Kareem Hunt type guy because that's where the value is. A lot of your starting running backs are just juiced to hell.
Right.
Are for you, you know, Perine at plus 550, Carson Steele at 8-1. Are either of those worth clicking right now, in your opinion?
I would probably go away from. Honestly, I'd probably go away from both of them because I am a Pacheco guy. Someone's trying to call me. Oops.
The Fed's calling.
Anyways, yeah, I am a Pacheco guy. I think he is the dude in Kansas City. I'm probably going to go away from both of them because of that. But if I were to have to pick between the two, I would probably go with Perine.
You take Pacheco 2 touchdowns over either of them?
I would probably, yes.
Yeah. If you're a Pacheco guy, I mean that's obviously there. So, all right. Sticking in Kansas City, Hollywood Brown out with that sternoclavicular dislocation. You know, obviously him getting that reduced back into place. We talked about this injury before. About a 4 to 6 week recovery timeline, waiting on those ligaments to heal. You obviously don't want to have that once it's been dislocated, unless you have to let it heal, because if not, it's just going to happen again, right? So you got to be careful there. It looks like week 2 is kind of risky, almost, you know, super optimistic. I'm thinking more week 3, week 4 is kind of where we're going to be. Would you agree?
Sure, I would probably agree, especially the way that Kansas City's been operating over the last couple of years. You know, like they've been there, they've done that. Why rush it kind of a thing. You know, they kind of almost have that slower start to the season, or at least the last year or two.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly concerned, but yeah, definitely a difference between AC joint shoulder stuff versus SC joint shoulder stuff, which is kind of an interesting topic that we won't dive into a ton. But we hear about wide receivers with AC joint sprains all the time, and they return usually pretty quickly. SC joint, a little bit different.
I can guarantee you we will talk about multiple wide receivers with AC joints, AC sprains, you know, throughout the season. I don't know if we'll see another SC joint one. So definitely a little interesting. All right. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Hill coming back from his thumb injury, likely a UCL sprain. Jalen Waddle still undisclosed. They had a wrap over his calf. We're kind of thinking calf strain there. Officially back at practice in full, which is a good sign. You know, so assuming both those guys are going to be in there, obviously one to monitor, but right now fully practicing. So we got to expect that. A guy who returned to practice today, who I kind of don't expect much, is wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, Jordan Addison, coming back from the high ankle sprain. He was back at practice, but really, you know, reporter said after warmups, he didn't do a whole lot. What are you thinking for Jordan Addison? Is that a risk you're willing to take if he is on the field for week 1?
I will probably pass on Jordan Addison, but I honestly, I think I know his thought process behind this. You know, you have a favorable matchup coming up in week 1 with the New York Giants.
Do you not just see we signed Adoree Jackson? What do you mean favorable?
He hasn't been with the organization for a little bit. So anyways, he has a favorable matchup. You got Justin Jefferson on the other side. So Adoree has something to worry about.
No, it's Deontay Banks.
Deontay Banks is a whole other thing. But anyways, yeah, I think this might be one of those that younger wide receiver trying to still develop himself in the league, might be pushing a little bit quickly. It's hard to say.
Yeah, we're around 3 weeks out. Yeah.
Is it 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was not that long ago that he got injured, man.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he's practicing at this point, but
yeah.
like
I
you
mean,
kind of said, who knows exactly how much he did.
yeah, that's what it sounds. It sounds like he was pretty damn limited. Like after
Yeah.
warm-ups, apparently, like not a lot. So I think that's right around where he would be based on the trajectory. I want closer
Yeah.
to really 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And there's a production dip usually until week 8. So definitely a guy I'm fading, not just because he's playing my Giants, but because he's trying to come back probably a little too soon from a high ankle injury. But I get it, right? You talked about you want to start the season off hot, right? You
Right.
you don't want to, nobody wants to start not playing the first game. All right, another guy in a similar situation, Jaylen Warren. Why don't you talk about him? That's your
Yeah, I mean,
guy there in Pittsburgh.
with Jaylen Warren coming down with a hamstring strain a week or so ago, kind of in that final preseason game, or was it may have been week 2. Anyways,
Week 2.
yeah, this is another situation where they have a very serviceable back in Najee Harris. I don't necessarily see them rushing him back, if you will. He has started doing some individual drills. He's been doing some things along with the team. But because of Najee being there, I don't necessarily think he's going to be doing a whole lot week 1, potentially even week 2. But I think it'll be kind of a slow ramp up week 2, week 3 with Jaylen Warren.
Yeah. I mean, look, it sounds like he really is pushing to play. Jaylen Warren, he's talked about how he wants to be out there week 1.
Yep.
He's really pushing to play. He was running around in practice today, looking actually pretty good. The concern there is coming back too soon from hamstring injuries.
No doubt.
I believe by the time week 1 rolls around, he'll be right around the 3-week mark, which is definitely possible, right? Grade 1 hamstring strains around that 2 to 3 week mark, but you do have that elevated re-injury risk for the first couple of weeks. So, it looks like he's gearing up to play. We're kind of we like both running backs this year, but with that concern, I would probably lead Najee Harris's way. I've already picked up some rushing props for him.
And Pittsburgh has some pretty good medical professionals. They have some pretty good people giving them some advice. I don't know if everybody from Pittsburgh necessarily has good medical advice, but Pittsburgh's a medical sitter.
Yeah, could be a homer. But no, I would say that looks like Warren's itching to play. So, but I would agree. I think that they're going to be smart, and I think he's ultimately active, but he's not kind of fully let go. And I think Harris gets a little bit more of the work.
Completely agree.
But I am excited to see him back out there. So they're a much better team when they have that kind of dual threat. So. And then Tyler Lockett, another guy, kind of not a lot on his injury. It's from the team. He was wearing a patella tendon strap under his knee, which essentially speaks to some type of, patellar tendonitis, patellofemoral pain, anterior knee pain type deal, right? Inflammation of that patellar tendon on the front part of the knee. This is a type of injury that can linger, right? I do expect him to be out there for week 1, but it's a situation where it can become re-aggravated, similar to the Justin Herbert plantar fasciitis thing. Yep. So, for week 1, looks like he'll be out there, but for, hey, if this kind of flares up midway through the season, I think it might be tough for him to push through. So what's your reading on Tyler Lockett this year?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think, he's definitely going to be a major part of their offense, but I think JSN is going to start pushing for those snaps, pushing for those reps in their offense. So I'm not a huge Lockett guy this coming season, but like you said, definitely can linger, definitely can show some wear and tear throughout the season.
Yeah, that's one where like the market and the fantasy football community is like everyone is they're kind of on that whole JSN emergence, and that's one where I kind of agree there with the market. Like with Lockett's age and with JSN's potential, and now this kind of lingering knee injury, it's just set up for JSN to kind of emerge. It's just will he take that step, right? What's him and DK going to look like? I'm not high on Geno Smith this year, so I think there's a good chance by week 12-ish, Sam Howell's going to be throwing the ball, but we'll see. So, but I would agree with the kind of pessimistic take on Tyler Lockett. And then last one, Tampa Bay outside linebacker Yaya Diaby coming off a high ankle sprain. Now he's had he injured himself the 1st of August, so now he's had more than a month. This is a player coming off a high ankle sprain where I'm expecting a little bit more out of the edge rusher here, right? He's had those 4 to 5 weeks where he's gonna be good to go. There's, he might have a little bit of some limitations the first couple weeks, but I'm in a much more comfortable spot thinking that Yaya Diaby is going to produce than Jordan Addison due to recovery time, how much they've had, and then the position they play. How much Addison has to cut off that ankle compared to Diaby really just putting his foot in the, foot in the ground and getting after it there.
For sure. And that's where, we all place bets from different angles. From my head perspective, my medical brain is saying he should be good, but my heart is also hoping that he's good because, we are fairly high on the Bucks this season, and hopefully some future bets end up.
Yes,
hitting.
we are high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we may speak about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers later in the show. All right, folks, we are done with the injury roundup, and now we're going to move on to some fantasy takes here. But before we do that, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Let's get that up there. All right. So Underdog Fantasy's Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000x your entry. The NFL is back, and there are a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can use now. There's got specials, boost, all of them. So we're going to talk about one real quick. Look, last week, actually right now, still, if you go on right now and sign up, right, you will get a free pick of Travis Kelce for him to just go over a half a yard. They're actually running a whole slew of specials this week, a different one every single day.
The only way this doesn't hit is if he breaks his ankle walking into the stadium.
I have a feeling that even if that Underdog will find a way to get you the money there. I think I've seen them do that on one of those kind of free plays. But look, folks, they got specials, different things. They got season-long projections. They got week projections. Every Thursday, we're going to be giving out a little bit of an Underdog slip, Underdog play. So you can look forward to that. But, hey, the best thing is all you have to do, sign up, use promo code SGPNDOC, all one word, all caps, and you will get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. First time deposit, you deposit $1,000, boom, $1,000 in your account, just like that. Use promo code SGPNDOC. So head on to underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPNDOC. All right, let's talk about this fantasy space. And the way we're going to start off with this is, look, these are our guys, our do not draft, our fantasy buys, fantasy fades for the season. Now, obviously, look, it's week one, so a lot of these takes are going to carry over into week one. So we're going to quickly go through, just some highlights of the guys you like. And then kind of speak in particular this week, what are some guys we're really looking to take advantage of in the fantasy world, and who are you looking to fade?
Sure. I'll actually let you go ahead and get started with this one.
All right. No worries.
Roll
yeah. So I think that Evan Ingram is going to have a hell of a game. I'm a big Evan Ingram guy. I really think this is from a volume standpoint, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened from him becoming a New York Football Giant, from being a football giant to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the guy is actually catching things, and he's going to get a shit ton of targets. Christian Kirk, now he should be active and somewhat good to go for week one. Coming off that calf strain, though, you've got Gabe Davis and the rookie Brian Thomas, who are kind of more your deeper threats. I think Evan Ingram is going to be Trevor Lawrence's favorite target this week, and I really like his matchup going against the Miami Dolphins. They've lost a lot in the pass rush perspective. I don't think Jalen Phillips is going to be anywhere close to 100%. Bradley Chubb is starting the year on the IR. Jalen Ramsey's just getting a year older. Xavier Howard is gone. I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for a Miami Dolphins defense that is in the decline, and Evan Ingram is going to have a monster year. So I am all over Evan Ingram this week. Okay. Who are you looking to back this week?
This week, let me switch over to some running back kind of stuff. So, and it's actually not not on this list necessarily, but Kenneth Walker out in Seattle, I think he's going to have a huge game against Denver. And then I also love really most of Buffalo's offense going up against Arizona. But from a running back perspective, Denver's defensive line is just a bunch of Joes. Like, you don't necessarily know names. You don't necessarily see a bunch of stats behind those guys. They're ranked on PFF as one of the 3 bottom defensive lines in the league. And I think Kenneth Walker is just one of those guys that he's going to tote the rock 20 to 25 times probably Sunday. And he's going to he's going to get some stats piling up. Same thing with James Cook. Not a huge touchdown guy, and that's part of the reason why I also like Josh Allen this week. But with James Cook, definitely kind of that bigger playmaker kind of a running back than Kenneth Walker. But again, Arizona's defense, man, they have a couple guys in the secondary, but other than that, there's just not very many dudes out there in Phoenix.
Yeah, no, I would agree there. Some of the guys that I'm looking, well, look, I'll talk about another guy that I am trying to back here, and that's Zamir White. He's on your list there as one of your buys, he didn't make the list. I thought he did. But Zamir White there for your Raiders running back. I know a lot of people are worried about, like, is he going to be this year's Alexander Madison, who's ironically behind him. But no, I think he is the clear RB1 in the last 4 games when they really gave him the ball. He produced, he shined, and they're going against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, for sure, obviously, if you've listened to us, you know that I am very low on Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm pretty high on the Raiders. But I'm not expecting anything crazy here. The Los Angeles Chargers for the past 5 years have been awful against the run. They cannot stop the run to save their life, and Antonio Pierce is going to run the ball 30 times down their throat. I love Zamir White this week. Look, I'm high on him for the season, but especially this week, I think Zamir White is someone you definitely want to target. And really, another one that I would say probably I'm going to avoid someone like, I don't know, maybe I won't throw out Puka Nacua this week coming back. That seems a little too spicy to start the year. But we talked about Jordan Addison and Jamar Chase already. So I guess I'll just piggyback off those guys as guys that I probably wouldn't. Addison from the injury perspective for sure. And then also Jamar Chase from the cold out aspect. Even if he says tomorrow, like, hey guys, I'm back, 5 days is not enough time to ramp up for an NFL season. So Jamar Chase and Jordan Addison will be my fades for this week.
Gotcha. So a couple other guys that I like is Mike Evans coming up against the Commandos, as you say. Washington's front 7, pretty stout. Secondary, it's kind of out there. So I really think Baker and Mike Evans hook up quite a few times on Sunday, and Mike Evans has a pretty good day. Again, we're kind of fading Chris Godwin going into the season, which is one of those guys that I'm not real high on, and is really a fade for the entire season. I took his under in touchdowns way back when we were doing divisions. But Mike Evans, I think season outlook looks good, and especially this first week. And then let's look at a little bit of some tight end stuff. Really high on Njoku in Cleveland this coming week, going up against Dallas. Again, front 4, they got some dudes. Secondary, pretty good. But they're linebackers. Man, I think they have something to show going into the season. So I think Njoku will have a pretty good game. And then obviously it's kind of chalky, but I think Laporta kind of goes off against the Rams linebacking crew as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, speaking of that game, I love Montgomery. Obviously, he's a guy who's this week, or not just this week, this season. Jahmyr Gibbs coming off that hamstring strain. Now, both Laporta and Gibbs, we didn't mention this at the top, but it seems like they're both going to be full goes. They're both coming off hamstring injuries. Dan Campbell gave the press conference today. Only safety, Melifonwu, is kind of questionable going in. Everybody else should be good to go. We're Montgomery guys here because just at the value you're getting him at. I mean, you're just getting him at such a cheaper price. Right. But I really kind of think the Lions put it on the Rams. The Rams have some offensive line issues they're dealing with. Through suspension and both injury, they've got a chance that both their starting tackles are going to be out this week. So I think that could cause some real big problems for them. So, if the Lions do get up, I think Montgomery can find himself the end zone there. But one more tight end sticking in that realm that you were talking about. Let's head over to the Carolina and New Orleans game. And Juwan Johnson, man, I've been beating the Juwan Johnson drum. And what better week than to have a week in week 1 against this pretty bad defense, man. They've had a lot of injuries in their secondary. Quarterback Dane Jackson is on the IR. Safety Sam Franklin Jr. is on the IR. Xavier Woods has a real chance to be out. One of their other safeties there.
Yep.
And J.C. Horn's a great player, but he'll be on Olave. Coming out of the tight end, I really, really think that Juwan Johnson has a good shot to be the second receiving threat in New Orleans. Yep. So I really like him there. And that kind of leads us into some guys who, we were talking about some guys that most people have rostered, except for, Juwan Johnson. But why don't you bring us through a couple of the waiver wire pickups? These are guys who are rostered in less than 50%. So, hey, say you drafted someone and shit, you realize that this guy's going to be out this week, or you kind of need to fill in here. Obviously, waiver wire a little less important in week 1, but some guys we think that if you're in a need right now, maybe you drafted Jonathan Brooks and Nick Chubb, and they're both on the IR, right? You need someone to fill in. So these are the guys that we think you should target. So why don't you lead us off there?
Yeah, so let me talk about both of the quarterbacks that we have listed here. Obviously, Matt Stafford has some weapons out there in LA with Puka and Little Cooper Kupp. So Matt Stafford, why he's not, being drafted, why he's not being picked up, at least thrown on the bench, it escapes me. It's kind of wild.
Ownership, insane.
Yeah, kind of wild. And really the same with Baker. You have 3 very, very good wide receivers with Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, and I always forget the guy from Washington.
Oh, come on. Jalen McMillan, man.
McMillan. There we go.
It's going to win me a lot of money.
And really with Tampa, they're running it back. Like they basically didn't do a ton in the offseason as far as movement, especially with their starting lineup. So I really think Baker is probably going to have another pretty good year. He was kind of hinged top 10 last year. And
he had a career year last year.
And that's, fantasy wise, he was right there. So why Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield aren't just being stashed kind of at the end of the bench for those weeks that, hey, starting quarterbacks going up against a good defense or on bye weeks.
Yeah.
They're very good second options.
Season long for sure, but definitely this week. Stafford's going against a Detroit Lions team that's going to have to rely pretty heavily on some rookies there in the secondary. Yep. Emmanuel Mosley was put on IR. So they've got some rookies stepping in. And then Baker Mayfield, we just talked about. Washington's defense is awful. Even if you want to say their front seven's okay, that secondary is awful. So, Baker and Stafford both have great opportunities. Some of the guys we'll just kind of sprinkle in here. Antonio Gibson, look, they're probably going to be down to the Cincinnati Bengals for most of the game. He is going to eat up targets, right? We're both kind of fading Ramondre Stevenson this year. Whether it was injury or just lack of production last year, he was very lackluster. He had all the opportunity in the world. I think the Patriots are going to be down. I think he's going to be a dump-off machine for Brissett to get Gibson the ball there. Another guy, Josh Palmer. This is crazy to me. I think this is LA's wide receiver number 1. Now, I do like the Raiders defense, but hey, they got to throw the ball sometimes, and they got to throw it to somebody. I don't understand why Josh Palmer has such a low roster percentage right now. I legitimately believe he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. I know people are high on Lad McConkey because he's a rookie and he's a new shiny toy, but dude couldn't stay healthy at Georgia. And when was he ever the guy in Georgia? Right. So what makes you think he's going to step on an NFL roster and do that? And then is there anyone else you want to talk about? Obviously, these are all other guys that we like.
Really to kind of bounce off of the Josh Palmer being potentially that number 1 guy. Jalen Polk up in New England is probably going to be the same guy up there. Very, very limited wide receiver room in New England. Obviously, there's more of a quarterback situation going on up there with Brissett. But Jalen Polk is a big play machine coming out of Washington. So I really like his upside going into the season. And then we've already talked about Juwan Johnson. Mike Gesicki is more of an option now that we're starting to see this whole Jamar Chase situation continue to develop. He hasn't been practicing. Where is his head at? Is he going to be playing week 1, week 2, week 3? Who knows? So Mike Gesicki might be a good option at the tight end position. Just again, volume wise, he's going to have a lot more volume with Jamar Chase being out or very limited.
Yeah, out, and then touchdown potential, right? We expect that Patriots defense isn't the worst part about their team, but their offensive line sucks, and they're probably gonna have to be on the field all game.
Yep.
So, talking about touchdown opportunity, Mike Gesicki is the starting tight end, right? Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals like to use the tight end. So I think that one is an easy way. If hey, you're in a spot with the tight end position, like many people usually are.
Yep.
I think Gesicki is a nice grab this week as well.
Agreed.
All right. Yeah, and then really quick, just want to mention with Jalen Polk, obviously Kendrick Bourne, who was the wide receiver 1 last year, on the pup with his ACL tear. So a little bit more opportunity created by injury. Okay, we're going to switch over from the injury realm and briefly touch on the sports gambling realm, what we very much love. But before we do that, let me tell you about some more of our sponsors here, and that is Rhythm. Look, when we talk about models in football, no, we are not talking about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. We're not getting in trouble this episode. But have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model or copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to get you even more betting insights. The Rhythm college football had me on. So they gave out Colorado, North Dakota State under 59.5, which was obviously a nice cash.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you check out Rhythm. Again, if you're someone who, like, when I first came to sports gambling, I'm like, what the fuck is these model? Like, everyone, you have these touts like, my model gave me this pick, my model gave me that. You walk in, you're like, fucking Giselle is giving out picks now. No, you learn it's not that type of model. But if it's something you want to ever get into, Rhythm is the place to do it, because look, super smart people, way smarter than us, made it so that dumb people like us can take advantage of those same type of stats, and gotta use the stats. So claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamingpodcast.com/rhythm. And then one more, game time. That is right. Hey, 3 days away from NFL kickoff. So maybe you want to go see a game for cheap. Make sure you head on over to Game Time. They are your spot for all your last minute deals. Hey, shit, you know what? I miss the NFL so much. Maybe I want to go see a game this weekend. I wasn't really planning on it, but hey, I can't just sit on the couch all weekend. I need to go out there and see my favorite team. Pull up Game Time. They are the spot for your last minute deals. They have them at the best price always. They even have that money back guarantee. And then we'll do even one better. Use promo code SGPN and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. All right, we're going to round it out with some sports betting talk here. First, looking at the Thursday night game, we obviously have the Baltimore Ravens heading down to Kansas City, heading up, down, sideways. What? Let's think. It's got to be down, right?
West and south.
Well, yeah, no shit, west. But I'm saying, was it up or down?
Sideways. So fuck you.
All right.
Directional terminology. Anyways, we got a game Thursday in Kansas City.
Yeah. So look, Baltimore is currently the underdog. They're +3, over under 46.5. Money line on Baltimore is +130. I'll let you start. Just give me your takeaways. What do you think right now? Obviously, Thursday night show right before the game, we'll kind of lock in our picks and let you know. We'll lead off with that on that show, but let's talk a little bit more that we have a little bit more time. What are you expecting from this game?
I would expect a very low scoring game. I'm more looking at the under than really the anything line in anything else. Yeah. Yep. I think, in general, both of these defenses are solid. The Ravens are going to want to establish that running game with King Henry and Lamar as usual. And Kansas City just over the last couple of seasons has started slower and slower. So I really am looking more at the total than overall line. I could really see this going either way, although the Ravens, I think, are out to prove something, at least early in the season against the Chiefs, because obviously they tripped up in the playoffs against them last year. So I would more look at the total than the line itself, but That's kind of where I am.
I would co-sign that. And I would probably wait. I'm trying to think, everyone's all excited first game. We saw the total last year pop up over 50 with the Lions game there. I would expect the total to continue to rise with everyone coming in and all that public money.
Yep.
I mean, everyone's going to be so excited to just bet on the NFL again. I think the over, you see two great teams that potentially have high-powered offenses. But I agree. Usually defense starts ahead of offense. And I would co-sign the under 46.5. I'd play it there. I'm probably going to play a little here and probably wait because I do think it's going to jump up a little bit closer to, 48, 47. But I would be willing to play Baltimore +3 and money line. The Chiefs don't.
Agreed.
I mean, we've seen it. Like you said, they don't really care that much about the regular season,
Yep.
right? They can go 10-7, 11-6, win their division and turn it on for the playoffs. You're going to be out Hollywood Brown. You're figuring out in the backfield there with P. Ryan, Carson Steele, with CH being out. Obviously, Pacheco's going to be the guy.
Travis has gone to like 50 concerts in the offseason.
Yeah, you think Travis Kelce's putting in work in the offseason? Hell no. This is Travis Kelce's first preseason game. That's how they're looking at it. Look, I don't like fading Patrick Mahomes more than the next guy, but the Ravens, when they played, it was a 10 game in the playoffs. I don't think it'll be that low scoring. Playoffs tend to ratchet up the defense there.
Yep.
But the Ravens averaged over 5 yards a rush when they played against Kansas City. Now, as a guy who was on Kansas City last year, I'm glad, but I have no idea why they did not just hand the ball off 50 times. Yep. I mean, and now you have Derrick Henry added to that backfield. In addition to Lamar, I think Justice Hill has the potential to do some things. I'm already on his anytime touchdown. But I think that the Ravens simply run all over them. Mark Andrews being fully healthy is an addition. And I think their defense is going to be really stout. I think that's one of the best secondaries in the league. They got Justin Madubuike. Well, Nnamdi Madubuike. For those that didn't see, he just kind of changed his name back. So it is Nnamdi Madubuike. So I think the Ravens are going to go into Kansas City and win this game, at least keep it within a field goal. But I really like them outright. So I would agree. I'm kind of going to be on the under 46.5. And I think I'll just be playing Baltimore money line at +130.
Hey, Ryan, we're all Swiftie fans here. Ryan over here in the chat. There we go. We're all Swiftie fans. T-Swizzle.
No, we're not. What the fuck
T-Swizzle has her role in this NFL upcoming season. So.
Listen, yes, we apologize for offending your cult leader there.
That's right.
But hey, nothing against Taylor Swift. She's doing her damn thing. But hopefully this season we can just get a little less, just not even screen time. Just like stop. People just need to stop talking about it. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Like that's kind of my thing. Is like, yeah, she's really popular. She's pretty cool, right? But let's just pump the brakes on that. Let's focus on football.
Yep.
All right, now we're heading into last section here. Early betting lines. What is something that right now is jumping off the page to you? Like, I need this in my pocket before, we get any longer. I want this number right now. Is there any plays on the board that you see right now that you want to attack?
Yep. I think I'm looking more Miami, Jacksonville. I think Miami puts it on them. Jacksonville's defense has been improving, I will say, but I really think Miami is out to prove something. And from an offensive perspective, you mentioned defense usually starts faster than offense. I'm not quite sure if that's the case with Miami. I mean, that offense is fire. Like it just comes at you from all different directions. With Tua there, kind of just manning the offense how he will, but with Waddle back to practicing, Tyreek Hill back to practicing, I think Miami ends up putting it on Jacksonville, and I at least over 3.5, if not maybe over a touchdown.
Going a little alt spread there, but -3.5 right now, +102 over on DraftKings for the Dolphins. Look, I do not like Jacksonville this year, but I'm also not that high on Miami. So I agree with that. I think they win. Not something I'm willing to attack right now. The offensive line issues, Isaiah Wynn getting put on the PUP list. Now center Aaron Brewer was back today for the first practice here, but they've got some offensive line issues that may keep me off that one. But I do think that Miami is a better team than Jacksonville. I will go to a division game, and I will take us over to New Orleans and Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, under 41.5 points. I think both of these offenses are absolutely horrific.
Yep.
Like this game is one you just bet and you simply see the game is 3-3 at halftime. And then you see it's, 10-7 and somebody's driving late in the game and you maybe
And
watch.
all of a sudden it's 17-10 and the game's over.
Yeah. I mean, like this is a classic division rivalry game. These games are always low scoring between these two teams because they just simply can't put up points, right? And I think if Carolina's going to have success, it's going to be through the ground. And I think that New Orleans is going to have to lean very heavily on obviously Olave, but you got J.C. Horn there, who's a pretty damn corner himself, but lean heavily on Kamara to try to figure that out as well. So give me the under in that game. Another one you will probably agree with, Tampa Bay. Home.
That's where I was going next. Yep.
Tampa Bay home, -3 there.
Bringing in Jaden Daniels as a rookie quarterback. Yep. Yeah. I think the more veteran team, kind of like we've talked about a couple of times, Tampa Bay's running it back. They've been there. They've done that. They were a playoff team last year. They won the division. Washington is definitely on the up and coming. We'll see how healthy Jaden Daniels can stay.
Yeah.
Now that he has everybody running 4-4, 4-5 coming at him. But I really like Tampa Bay at -3 down there at home for sure.
Yeah, no, I love Tampa Bay in that game. The only other one I like, Las Vegas Raiders. I talked about it. Look, I'm high on the Raiders. I'm down on the Chargers. Last time they played, do you remember the score?
Vegas and Chargers?
Yep. Las Vegas Raiders 63.
I was gonna say they ended up blowing them out.
LA Chargers 21. They put up 63 fucking points.
Yikes! Yeah,
this was week 17.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about? Week 17, 18, one of those weeks. It was late in the season, right? Like, how much of these teams changed? Well, I'll tell you. I think the Raiders got a better quarterback in Gardner Minshew. I think they got a good player in Brock Bowers. They brought in Christian Wilkins over from Miami. And what the hell did the LA Chargers do? They got rid of everybody. Who the hell is Justin Herbert throwing the ball?
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, yes. Jim Harbaugh is going to suit up.
He's suiting back up. He's going to play quarterback this
week. If Herbert's playing or faster can't stay in order, maybe he'll have to. But
Harbaugh needs to just teach him some recovery strategies. He's used to jump in the cold tub in his khakis and all kinds of stuff with Michigan. Yeah. So he just needs to get his quarterback up to
speed there. Yeah, no, look, man. I just think Las Vegas is going to put it on him again. I really do. I think Las Vegas has got something to prove. Devontae Adams. I really like that team. I know everyone's sleeping on them, but I think you're going to continue to get good numbers early in the season. So I'm going to jump all over them. Yep. All right, folks. Those are our early betting line locks there. Hey, we ran through some injury rundown. We talked about fantasy waiver wire targets, best and worst matchups, our guys for this season. And then we did Thursday night preview, early betting lines. This is what to kind of expect for the Monday night show. Obviously, we're going to be getting started much closer to 7. We're going to make sure we're done before that Monday night football game. But hey, any comments, suggestions, go ahead and drop us a comment, message us, reach out to us. Make sure if you're not, go ahead and follow us. Not only subscribe here on YouTube, but on all the social medias. You got anything for the good people before we get out of here?
Yeah, just like you said. I mean, follow us, throw us comments, drop into the DMs every once in a while. We'll be collecting some questions along the way, hopefully, to kind of highlight through episodes in the future. So again, share, follow, subscribe, whatever it is. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, no. And one more time, I will just bring the graphic back up of the schedule there. So this was what to expect from Monday night episode, a little bit more fantasy heavy. Thursdays, we're going to be hitting the sports betting hard, and that starts this week. So obviously today was Monday. 3 days, man. 3 days with NFL kickoff. We'll be going live on X and YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to be talking not only about Thursday night, but the entire slate, our best bets, things you should be looking out for. And of course, leaning off with the injury analysis as always. All right, folks. Well, looks like the drinks are done. So you know what time that means. A lock a day keeps the bookie away, and we've got your prescription. So from us here at the Degen Docs, Appreciate you hanging with us, and we will see you on Thursday night. What's up, Degens? Doc here. As a proud member of the U.S. Army and a lover of football, sometimes those two things cross over on here. But as you probably already know, as a lowly captain, these are just my opinions. These are not opinions that are representative of the entire DoD or the U.S. Army. The same thing goes for any references to any commercial products or hyperlinks. Again, that does not constitute an endorsement from the DoD or the Army. I hope you enjoyed the show, and as always, let it ride, baby.